Hello, friends. Very warm welcome to all of you. In this session, we'll be learning on FLEXBOX, that is one of the important property of CSS. With the help of flexible box, what we do is we can arrange our layout for our web page. Usually, when we create a web page, you can see here we have a display uh, where we have a nav bar at the top, then we have some contents on the left, some contents on the right. So these type of layouts can be very easily designed with the help of flexible box property of CSS that we have to learn today. So what is FlexBox? FlexBox is a property of CSS with the help of which we usually display HTML elements side by side. Usually when we create a div or when we create any HTML element, it comes one below another, one above another, one below another. But if we have to place it side by side, then we can use the CSS flex property. So uh, it is used to display HTML elements side by sides, and it is used to set the layout of our web page. So whenever we create a web page, we first have to set a layout, how our web site will look, and that layout can be implemented using the CSS Flexbox property. So in CSS Flexbox, what are the different things that we will be using? The property is display with value flex. Then we have a property justify content. This justify content can have center and space around or space between values. And then we have align items property. These align items can have center, baseline, and stretch property. So once again, very warm welcome to all of you in this flexible box session. And in this session, we will be learning how to create a web page or how to set the flexible box property to create a web page. As discussed earlier, this is the layout. This type of layout can be designed with the help of CSS Flexbox property. And we can, I'll show you another example. Like here, Flexbox made easy. This is a logo on the nav bar. This is the nav bar. On this particular layout, this is a web page that is created. On the top, we have a nav bar. And then we have these boxes, one below another. And then we have some boxes, this on the right hand side. These are the side by side. So these type of web page can be designed with the help of FlexBox property. So let us come and let us discuss how we can use the FlexBox property. Let me quickly start a new page. Box one.html. So this is the HTML that we'll be using. Let me create the structure, and then we'll see the different properties that we have to use in the Flexbox. I'll quickly create a div. Let's have a class. This class has a Flexbox. This name is user defined. Then give any name that you want. And in this div, we have some elements as cards. So I'll be creating the card here, and suppose we have 3 different cards. And now if let us create a CSS. So I'll be creating the link equals to style sheet and href equals to sample1.css, and then I'll quickly create example1.css file. So I'll create, sorry, so we have this example1.css, and in this example1.css, what we'll do, we'll create a class FLEXBOX, and in this class we'll be using, suppose, width 700 pixels, background color. Let's take the background color as brown. I'll take the border radius as 16 pixels, and I'll take the margin. These properties are independent properties. These are box properties and nothing to do with flex. We'll be adding flex in it later. And I'll also create a card class. And in the card class, let's take margin. So 20 pixels. Height equals to 100 pixels. Suppose 100 pixels. And yes, maybe 10 pixels. And background color. I'll take background color as very light color. And now I'll try to this FLEXBOX example. I've not written anything. I've just created FLEXBOX, and then we have 3 elements in it. And let us see how it is displayed when we see it in the browser. See, so this is how it is getting displayed. You can see it is all these div comes one below another. So these are the cards, and these are coming one below another. See, these are the cards which are coming one below another, and we can control it using the CSS. Margin is 220 pixels, and suppose 20 pixels both ways. Let us see the output here. Okay. Margin 70 pixels, the 7 pixels, and height. Suppose we have padding. Let us see how this looks. So I'll just come to see in the browser. So this is how it is getting displayed. Now, suppose we want these elements to be displayed side by side. So first box, then the second box, then the third box, then the fourth box. So for that, we use the FLEXBOX property. So flex property is used to display elements, HTML elements side by side. By default, it is not displayed side by side. It comes one below another. And if we want it side by side, then we can use it with the help of flex property. So I'll come to the code, and here I'll write one property: display is flex. And as I add display is flex, now you can see what happens. It is displayed this way. So this is the change that can happen if we use the property display is flex. I'll show you once again. Width is 700 pixels. I am removing this. I'm removing this, and now you see it is getting displayed one below another. I'm adding this property, and it gets the output this way. So this is how the output can be controlled. Now, suppose width, I'll also mention the height of this. Which height is. Okay, so without this display, let us see how it is getting displayed. This is how it is getting displayed without the pixel. Without the display is equals to flex. And now I add display is equals to flex, and you can see how it is looking. So this is how we use the display flex property to display the elements side by side. In this example, we have this box that is totally decorated, and then we have this social in your pockets. This is side by side. This can be done with the help of flex. Similarly, in the nav bar, we have a logo, then we have home, about us, community. These are side by side. So these we can use with the help of flex. Here we have an image, and then we have these the name of the author and the link. These are displayed side by side with the help of flex. So these are the examples of flex, and we will be using this property display flex along with some other properties to understand how we can design our website, very beautiful website with the help of flex. Okay, coming back to the code, what we have right now, this is. Now, I'll do one thing. We have FLEXBOX example, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll remove one card. So we have 3 cards. This is how this are getting displayed. And now, suppose we want these to become on the right-hand side, or this to be center, or some different alignments. Then we have 2 more properties that we'll be discussing. So let us come to the code. Let us come to the CSS. And here what we will be using is justify content. And in justify content, these are several values that can be taken. I'll use center. And once I use center, then what happens? See, these items are displayed in the center. Okay, I'll try with some other values. Instead of center, I'll be using end, and it will come to the right-hand side. So elements will come to the right-hand side. And suppose we use space around. So now you can see these are the equal gaps between the elements. And then we can have another value that is space between. So space between, the max space in between, it will display this way. So this is the max space in between. And then we have space evenly. And now you can see how these things are getting displayed. So we have used 2 properties only of flex as of now. and one is display flex. If we don't use display flex, elements will come one below another. If we use display flex, then elements are displayed, all the elements within this container, this FLEXBOX container. This is a container, and within this container, the elements will be displayed horizontally, one side by side, one after another. Now, let me give one example of FLEXBOX here. So if I do not write these cards within this step, then it will not have the same effect, because these cards are now not the part of the above div, the FLEXBOX class div. So if we take out of this container, then it will not have the effect. You can see, because these will go down. So these are the elements now. Okay, you can see these shades on the left side. So it can take the display flex property only if we use it inside the container. So I'll cut it from here, I'll paste it here, and we'll see the output once again. It displays like this. Now, there's one more property that we'll be using apart from justify content. That is align items. So align items is, suppose I write is center. Then what will happen? See, the elements will come at the center. This is how the elements are now getting displayed. This is center. Okay, now I'll come to the code once again, and I'll create, suppose card 1, card 2, and card 3. The 3 cards. I want all these 3 cards to have different heights. So I'll use height is, suppose 150 pixels. Height is, suppose 100 pixels. 70 pixels. And then height is, suppose 100 pixels. And in the code, this is card 1, or this is card 2, and this is card 3. So I'll come to the output and see now these 3 cards have different heights. Now, these heights are all from the center. The reference line is in the center. So if we want the reference line to be at the bottom or to be at the top, then we have different properties for that, and that can be done with the help of align items. So instead of center, the reference is not center, it is baseline. And you can see, so now this is the baseline. And suppose we want now that the reference is not baseline, it is from the top, then we can have the stretch bar. So if we use the stretch property, let us see how it gives the output. So now it is from the top. So these are the different sorts of values which we'll be using in different flex properties and for different types of layouts. So coming back again, what we do with FLEXBOX, we design layout for our web page, and when we want to display items side by side, then we have to use the CSS FLEXBOX property. And for CSS FLEXBOX property, what we have display is flex, and then we have justify center. This justify center can have center, displays round, etc. values, and align items and this can be center, baseline, stretch. So this was first part, the introduction part of flexible box. Now in the second part, we will be designing the nav bar. I will be designing this web page, and this web page, for this web page, we'll be using different properties. The flexbox properties. Apart from the flexbox property, we can use the positions, and we can also use the box property of the CSS box property. So using the box property and the position and the flex property, we'll try to design something like this. This is a social media web page, and we'll try to try something like this. So stay tuned. We'll be starting the session. Okay, now in this session, we'll be creating a homepage website, which will have a nav bar, this nav bar at the top. Then we'll have these posts on the left-hand side and the social inner pockets on the right-hand side. So basically, this will have similar type of design, this type of design that have nav bar. Then we have few posts on the left side, and then we have something on the right side. So this is the output that will come, and we'll learn how to use this with the help of FLEXBOX. So first, let us come to the code. I'll create a new file. Let me give Flex example 2, FLEXBOX example 2.html, and I'll quickly create the structure HTML. I'll create the CSS file that will be done with help of style sheet, and equals to we'll use CSS example dot CSS, and I'll quickly create example 2.css. So I'll come here. This is example 2.css. So now we have FLEXBOX example 2. This is the HTML, and this is the CSS that we'll be using to create something like this. So first of all, I'll create a post, this post, and then I'll come back to the social impact on the right hand side. So let us see how to design it. Okay. So this is the home page. On the top, we want a nav bar. So I'll create a class. Div class equals to nav bar. Okay. Class equals to, suppose we create a nav bar class. This is for the nav bar. In the nav bar, we'll use a href equals to this class equals to logo, and this is FLEXBOX. This is the logo that we want on the top, and then we have div plus equals to, we'll create links, and in this div we'll be having a href equals to That's this way. Goes home. I'm first creating the structure and we'll be designing it. Okay, so I want home, about, community, and tribe. Home, about, okay. And then we have stores. These are the things that we want on the nav bar. Let us quickly see how it is showing because we have not created the CSS. So the structure. So this is how it is showing every logo, home, community, try, everything very messy. Now we'll use CSS. So we'll come to the rescue of HTML with the help of CSS. So example 2.css we have already created. And what are the classes that we require here? The first class is the nav bar. Then we have a logo class. Then we have links. And then we have link. So I'll try to come here. Uh, Let us also decorate it with a button. Okay. So we have to create nav bar, we have to create logo, we have to create link, we have to create links, and all this in the example too. So we'll come here. We'll start with the nav bar. So what are the things that we require in the nav bar? Let us see. So let's start with nav bar. In nav bar, first of all, I'll give the width. Suppose 860 pixels. Okay, then I'll give the margin 20 pixel auto, and then this is what I want in the nav bar, and then I'll create the logo. In the logo, let me get the font size to be 22 pixels and color. Suppose we give 2, and I'll give font weight to be bold, and I'll give the text decoration as of now none. So I've created a nav bar with width and margin, and we get the logo, and I want to see it how it appears. Now see, we have the logo, FB logo, and then we have this. If you see the code, then see, in this nav bar, we have two elements, the logo and the links. But these are coming one below another. Why? Because we have not used the FLEXBOX property in this navbar class. Once we use the displays flex, then these two property, this and this, will come side by side. So I'll quickly go to the code and see the output, which is like this. I'll quickly go to the code and okay. So let's come to the code. And here I'll give display colon flex. I'm only writing display colon flex, and let me see the output. Now see the output is coming in the same line. Now we have to decorate it further. So for further decorations, we'll use some more properties, which we have recently learned. So let me use the justify content, and I'll give space between, and I'll see how it appears. Okay, so it is coming beautifully on the right hand side. Good. So I'll come again and maybe align items center. Suppose I don't use this. I'm just giving align items center. See, this is coming this way. And if I even remove this display item center, then just see the output. It is coming at the top. So I want this home, about, and FB logo aligned from the center that we have recently studied. So for that, we'll be using these two properties. Justify content and align items that we have just studied. So now if I come to see the output, it is coming like this. Okay. So FB logo is coming this side and this is here. I'll use the body property so that on the text items looks good. So let me come to the code and I'll quickly create a body and I'll give the font family as okay. Now you can see the output. So font we have changed. Now coming back to do some more decorations in it. I'll come to the code, I'll come to the CSS and see, we have used navbar and logo. We have used navbar and logo. We have not used the link. So I'll try to give some CSS properties so that the links that we have used also looks good. So I'll use the link property dot link. In the link, I'll use the color for black. Okay. I'll give text decoration as none so that it should not be underlined. And that's it. Okay. Now I can give some margin so that we have some spaces in between. So I'll give margin left is 20 pixels. And I'll see the output. So it's looking good. Okay, so if it's looking good, quickly type good in the chat box. Now